My name's Chris, and I'm a bookaholic. You already know. All right, today I want to talk to you about some biographies. And actually, I don't think I've read any of these biographies, but I got them. I'm super pumped about them. They're going to probably be on my 2023 list, especially, I think, knowing what I'll be doing. This should really resonate with me, and I think it'll resonate with you. Maybe you already have these books. I don't know. Some people are very content to just read the books that the authors have written, and that's what they're happy with. They love it, and that's enough. Cool. And I think in a lot of ways that's especially helpful when you realize that the author in real life might have not been so amazing. But it's kind of cool when you find out a little bit more about the author and you can see some of the meaning behind the madness. Well, we're going to cut to the chase. The first book that I'm excited about reading is M.J. Simpson's Hitchhiker, biography of Douglas Adams. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Douglas Adams. Obviously, he's very famous and known for The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and the marvelous books that are within that series. I actually remember vividly these books when I was a younger boy, but I did not dive into them, partly because I don't think I really kind of got it. That's okay. I was a kid living in the Dakotas. We were sheltered. The point... I definitely remember his books when I was younger, and I decided when I got a little older, I think I'm going to try this guy out. And I just found myself cracking up and thinking to myself, this guy's writing is, fantastic. And so I'm excited about jumping a little bit more into his works, but I was really interested in his life. It seemed very fascinating to me. And this book, tragically, doesn't have any pictures inside. So I kind of feel like, can you take it seriously as a biography if there's no pictures? So we'll see. I'm going to give this a whirl. If you've read this, let me know. M.J. Simpson, Hitchhiker, a biography of Douglas Adams with a foreword by Neil Gaiman. Okay, well, cool, right? And speaking of Neil, I'm listening to right now the biography of Terry Pratchett by Rob Wilkins, his personal assistant. I'll put a picture up. I was going to hold up my Audible picture, but I realized that's stupid. I'm loving this so far, and I realized that if we didn't get this from him, Rob Wilkins, then we probably weren't going to get it. This guy, had the inside scoop, personal assistant, especially during kind of that transition moment from his health into the variable of Alzheimer's and his unfortunate early end. And I think that I've kind of fallen a lot for Terry Pratchett in his writing. His sense of humor just resonates with me. So both Pratchett and Douglas Adams have such a zany wit about them that, for me, within the realm of science fiction, which is oftentimes not filled with a variety of laughs, a barrel of laughs, it is kind of nice to have people who are, willing to poke some fun and to find the humor amidst a lot of the alarming and frustrating things that can happen. So those are two books on my list. I'm actually in the zone right now with the Terry Pratchett biography, and I hopefully will see that finishing soon. It's possible it'll be even done before we begin the new year, but I'm excited about these two especially. But there are two other authors that I really wanted to kind of dive into more. Obviously, Brian Herbert's book, Dreamer of Dune, about his father, the biography of Frank Herbert, is very interesting to me. And I will say this, that the reason I actually picked this up was I saw the anniversary edition of the Dune book that was being offered at one of the local stores, and I started reading the foreword, which was by Brian, and I remember thinking to myself, wow, that's kind of interesting, because he began to just talk about how his father, when he would write, really insisted that the house be utterly and totally quiet, because he was really trying to make sure that the mechanics of the world and the specifics were all on point. And for Brian as a young boy, remembering that quiet and how, for him, continuing on with that world, he now really appreciates, the the effort and the energy that his father put into that. Well, you know, I'm always kind of fascinated with the take of people who knew these legends, you know, in a very intimate and personal way. And obviously, as a son, he would have an inside scoop that was above and beyond. And how I know that this biography is legit is that, of course, it has personal inside pictures and scoops of the whole family dynamic. So, I mean, you know, questionable, but on point. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I can't really even say that the Padgett book has pictures because it's an Audible book. I'll end up getting that, though, at some point, the actual book. Because, you know, I mean, again, as a biography, you know, are there photos? I mean, come on. The last author that I'm super pumped about when it comes to a biography of him would be one of my all-time favorites, Ray Bradbury. Now, I have two by Ray Bradbury, but they're both by the same person. So, interestingly enough, Becoming Ray Bradbury by Jonathan R. Eller, and then Ray Bradbury Unbound by Jonathan R. Eller. I don't know where I got these at, actually. I probably found them at some point online. This is an older library book, I believe. And this one looks pretty kind of new. Well, you know, as I am such an idiot here, and I'm going to start looking for pictures. Okay, this one, not as great. Okay, well, I guess that counts. You know, there's some little sketches and doodles. I'll give them a pass. We'll see. And then I feel like what a child, you know. There are pictures, but this is cool. Okay, I think I'm going to read this one first because you know how it is. Have you ever noticed when you're reading a biography and then like in the middle there's that big chunk of pictures and you're like, oh man, I'm so pumped. I can't wait to get to that part because then I'm going to like take a chunk of pictures that I've already looked at about 3,000 times and I'll be able to go past. But the funny thing is that usually the number right before the pictures is, it doesn't drastically change after you're done with the pictures. Does that make sense? Okay, anyway, so I think I'm going to read first the Ray Bradbury Unbound. Now, okay, first of all, many people were required Ray Bradbury when you were a kid in school, possibly Fahrenheit 451 or maybe the Martian Chronicles even. I think those are amazing books, and especially 451 is exceptional. And, you know, he's talking about things that aren't even in existence, but we can easily make the connection to. It's almost like some sort of like a picture at, streaming networks and screens for watching all of these videos. And we're like, hey, I recognize that. That's kind of what we do now. He's writing decades and decades previous to anything that we know to be the internet and obviously digital mediums that we, watch our stuff, stream our stuff on. So, he was quite exceptional. And what I love about Ray Bradbury, he's young enough that you can find a lot of biographies on YouTube or biographical sketches or like little vignettes and kind of documentaries of sorts on YouTube, online platforms, and really kind of get to know him. I mean, he had a very engaging and gregarious personality. He invited you in, and when he talks even a little bit about writing those early books and them being, like that stereotypical dime novel, to me, it's just so fascinating, and I'm like, okay, I love this guy. And then you start reading his books, you're like, oh my gosh, I think this guy's he's like prophetic, and his writing's almost like poetry. It's so rich and beautiful. Well, the only other thing I wanted to acknowledge or point you to is with regards to Ray Bradbury. Yes, he's written all of these amazing books, but he also wrote this little beautiful book on the art of writing, Zen and the Art of Writing, and I think that for anyone out there who is a writer, this is kind of a cool little quick, fast-paced book about writing from a master. And one last nod to those who are writing lovers. Stephen King, of course, on writing. This is a must-read for anyone who likes to write, wants to write. And again, as a legend, legendary and still putting out amazing content. Whether or not you liked his last one, as much as you liked early ones, doesn't really matter. I mean, he's one of the all-time greats, period. This is just some things that are really standouts and helpful hints, and I think it's worth it. And for me, I don't write fiction, so but I found this to be very helpful and exceptional for some of the things that I do with writing and with my speaking and all that stuff. So blah blah blah. So those are some biographies I'm really looking forward to, and if you've not read a couple of these books about writing, you might find those to be of interest. So I probably morphed a couple things together that I shouldn't have, but you know what, it's okay. I think you're going to be okay. So there's a few books that I think you might find encouraging. Maybe you've read or listened to some audio books about authors that you've really loved. I would love that, whether it's an autobiography or a biography. That would be great. In a future episode, I'll talk about all the comedy biographies I've listened to, because I love those. But yeah, I'm super fascinated and have been with authors in their life, and it's kind of cool to see some of these biographies come out. I'm really hoping to find myself a biography on Robert Jordan. And if you know of one, let me know. I would love to see that. And honestly, I know that there's a couple other things for Padgett that's out there, but I felt like this one from his personal assistant, which was heralded even by his daughter, Padgett's daughter, as being, well worth the labor of love, and one that was being looked forward to so much in the community. I definitely felt like that's the first one I was going to go to. But finding books about even about Stephen King, usually you can get some vignettes about him as a writer from certain short stories, or maybe some prefaces, introductions, and stuff. But a straight up outright biography is kind of hard to find. So you have one that you want to recommend to me, I would love to hear about it. That would be great. And really, honestly, anything about great authors. I know that I was hearing, I believe it was David Morrell talking about a biography that was coming out on Tony Hillerman. I've got to hunt that down, because I've always really liked that mystery series that he started creating, and his daughter now is continuing. I've been a big fan of, like, for example, Dick Francis, who wrote all of these mysteries around horse racing, used to ride for the Queen. There's some biography stuff out, and his son has continued the legacy of writing in that genre. But I digress. So put in the comments any recommendations you might have. It's good stuff, and I love it. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. I mean, you know the drill, probably better than I do. I hope you're liking the videos. I'm going to do my best to put a whole bunch of content out, and maybe one particular week you might think, I don't know if that's up my alley. Well, tune in for the videos for the next week, and I'm trying to put out a couple a week at least. We'll see how that goes. And then maybe more. I have a number of other things planned for the channel that I think are going to be pretty exciting. So keep tuning in, and I'll keep reading. All right, talk to you soon.